Mr. Gray, one of Stephen King's creepiest villains, an alien parasite fueled by revenge and a love for mind control. Mr. Gray, from Dreamcatcher, isn't here to make friends. After his planet was wiped out, he decided to take his anger out on Earth, infecting humans with a horrifying alien fungus called the virus. His weapon? Slimy, worm-like creatures that crawl inside people and turn them into living hosts. The story kicks off when four old friends and their psychic buddy Duddits head to a remote cabin in Maine for a hunting trip. They find a sick stranger in the woods, and minutes later, he dies on the toilet, while a giant alien worm bursts out of him. One friend dies, another friend named Jonesy breathes in alien spores, and boom, Mr. Gray moves into his mind like a bad roommate who never leaves. Using Jonesy's body, Mr. Gray plots to dump alien goo into the town's water supply and turn humanity into walking worm incubator. The scariest part isn't even the gore. It's the fact that Jonesy's still conscious inside his own body, screaming while Mr. Gray uses him like a puppet. Mr. Gray's smug, polite, and downright cruel, the kind of villain who'd thank you before killing you. In the movie, they turn up the slime and give Mr. Gray a British accent, because of course, the evil alien sounds classy. The story ends with a psychic showdown at a frozen reservoir, where Duddits helps Jonesy fight back. Mr. Gray gets booted out of Jonesy's head and explodes into a cloud of red dust shaped like a dream catcher. Tak, an ancient evil spirit that lives to twist reality and destroy everything in its path. That's what Stephen King gave us with Tak. This chaotic entity stars in Desperation and The Regulators, two parallel universe horrors where the same characters' names appear, but the nightmares couldn't be more different. In Desperation, Tak crawls out of an old mine shaft in the Nevada desert and starts possessing people and animals. First up is a psycho cop named Kali Intragian, who becomes Tak's meat suit until his body literally falls apart. Tak's vibe? Pure chaos. It controls animals, sends bugs to attack, and makes the whole town feel like hell baked under desert heat. Then in The Regulators, Tak finds a new playground, a quiet Ohio suburb. This time, it slips into the mind of a kid named Seth Garin, who's autistic and obsessed with westerns and cartoons. Bad combo, because under Tak's control, Seth's imagination becomes real. The neighborhood turns into a warped TV show. Toy trucks shooting bullets, cowboys killing neighbors, the whole reality glitching like a broken video game. Tak doesn't have a body of its own, so it needs hosts, and it's super gross about it. In Desperation, the bodies rot fast. In The Regulators, it sticks with Seth, though even that causes some hilariously dark moments. Like when giving Seth a laxative weakens Tak. Tak is terrifying, not because it's huge or loud, but because it makes everything you trust, your town, your body, your brain, betray you. The Tommyknockers. Deep in the quiet town of Haven, Maine, things take a turn for the bizarre when writer Bobby Anderson stumbles upon a massive chunk of metal buried in the woods. Spoiler, it's not an old car. It's a long-lost alien spaceship that's been sleeping underground for ages. What follows is the Tommyknockers, a wild collision of alien sci-fi and small-town madness. Once Bobby starts digging it up, weird stuff hits the fan. The townsfolk get super smart overnight, start inventing wild gadgets out of junk, and slowly turn into glowing, green-veined aliens. Their teeth fall out, their skin changes, and their humanity pretty much packs its bags and leaves. The closer you are to the ship, the faster it happens. Enter Jim Gardner, Bobby's poet friend with a drinking problem and a metal plate in his head. Lucky for him, that bit of hardware blocks the ship's alien influence, making him one of the few people still thinking straight. He shows up in town like, "Hey Bobby, why does everyone look like radioactive zombies building death Roombas?" Things spiral fast. People vanish. The town turns murderous, and the line between human and alien gets really blurry. The scariest part isn't even the monsters. It's watching normal folks slowly lose their minds while thinking they're geniuses. The Tommyknockers themselves are never fully shown, which somehow makes them creepier. You just feel their influence everywhere, like static in your brain. It's E.T. meets the Twilight Zone, but on way too much caffeine and paranoia. The true knot. They look harmless, a bunch of old folks in RVS, swapping stories and chasing sunsets, but under that friendly disguise lies one of Stephen King's most disturbing groups, the True Knot. They're not travelers. They're predators, psychic vampires who hunt children with the shine and feed on their life force, something they call steam. Their leader, Rose the Hat, is all charm and menace. Think Mary Poppins with murder in her heart and a top hat to match. Under her leadership, the true knot travels from town to town, hunting down shining children, stealing their steam, and inhaling it like it's their version of fine wine. They think regular humans, who don't shine, are basically livestock and call them rubes. The creepy twist is how ordinary they look. You could pass them at a rest stop or campground and never guess they're centuries-old monsters. They laugh, barbecue, swap stories, and then casually discuss who to kidnap next. They're immortal-ish, but not invincible. If they don't get enough steam, they start to rot from the inside. And hilariously, they can still die from stuff like measles, because apparently being a psychic vampire doesn't come with good health insurance. The scariest part isn't the gore, it's the normalcy. The true knot hides in plain sight, smiling from behind RV windshields while plotting unspeakable things. The boogeyman. Sometimes the simplest monsters are the scariest. The boogeyman isn't an alien, a demon, or some cosmic nightmare. It's the thing lurking in your closet, waiting for the lights to go out. That's what makes Stephen King's The Boogeyman so chilling. The story comes from King's Night Shift collection and follows a guy named Lester Billings, who's sitting in a therapist's office, talking about how all 3 of his kids mysteriously died. He swears they were killed by the boogeyman, the same one kids cry about before bed. Every time one of his kids died, their bedroom closet door was open when it shouldn't have been. Spooky, right? Lester's story starts out sounding like grief and paranoia, until you realize he's not crazy. The monster is real, and that ending? Chef's kiss. After Lester finishes his story, he notices his therapist has vanished, replaced by something else, something with glowing eyes, stepping out of the closet. Yup, therapy session over. What makes this one so creepy is how ordinary it feels. Everyone's been scared of the dark, that half-open closet door, that feeling someone's watching you. King takes that childhood fear and gives it teeth. The boogeyman doesn't need gore or explosions. It's pure, something's in my room. Terror. It's short, sharp, and classic King. Equal parts spooky and darkly funny. So yeah, maybe check your closet before you go to sleep tonight, just in case. The Wendigo. It's the ancient evil lurking behind that cursed burial ground in the Maine woods, quietly twisting everything it touches. You might think it's just about grief or loss, until you realize something far darker is pulling the strings. The story follows the Creed family, who move into a nice little house with a pet cemetery in the backyard, and a busy highway that's basically a death trap for animals. Their neighbor, Judd, tells them about an old native burial ground even deeper in the woods, a place where the ground's sour. That's where the Wendigo lives, or at least, where its influence seeps through the soil like bad energy. When something dies and gets buried there, it comes back, but wrong. Mean, rotten, and full of whatever darkness the Wendigo carries. The monster feeds on grief. It whispers to the living, nudging them to do the one thing they shouldn't. Bury the dead in its ground. You think you're fixing loss, but really, you're just giving the Wendigo a new toy. One of the scariest moments is when Lewis Creed is walking through the woods and sees something massive in the fog, a towering figure that might be the Wendigo itself. It's that classic King move. You never get a clear look, but your imagination does the heavy lifting. So yeah, the Wendigo isn't a jump scare monster. It's worse. It's that voice in your head that says, what if you could bring them back? It's grief weaponized. And in true Stephen King fashion, it's terrifying because it feels just believable enough to make you glance twice at the woods behind your house. Deadlights. These are one of the freakiest ideas Stephen King ever came up with, and that's saying a lot. They're the true cosmic form of Pennywise from It, hiding behind the clown makeup and balloon tricks. You think the clown is scary? The deadlights are what the clown uses to hide from something even worse itself. So, what are they? Imagine a swirling mass of glowing orange lights from another dimension. Not outer space, but somewhere outside reality entirely, called the macroverse or Todash darkness. These lights aren't pretty, they're pure madness. Look directly at them and your brain basically blue screens. You either die instantly or go insane forever. It's like Cosmic Horror's version of a do not touch button. The Losers Club never fully sees them during the final battle, because humans literally can't comprehend what they are. In the Ritual of Chud, Bill Denbrough gets close enough to understand that the deadlights are a glimpse of something so alien, it rewrites your sanity. And it's not just an it thing. The Deadlights pop up in King's wider universe, connected to the Dark Tower series and the Crimson King. That means Pennywise is more than a monster that wanders in sewers, and it's part of a much bigger, much darker cosmic system. The scariest part? King never really explains them. He gives you just enough to imagine, and your imagination does the rest. The Deadlights are the ultimate look-away moment, the thing so terrifying your brain refuses to describe it. The children of Gatlin. Imagine driving through a quiet little town in Nebraska, golden cornfields, blue skies, not a soul in sight. Seems peaceful, right? Until you realize all the adults are gone and the kids are running the place like a cult with pitchforks. You just met the children of Gatlin, Stephen King's twisted tale of faith, fear, and way too much agriculture. It starts with a couple, Bert and Vicky, driving through the countryside when they accidentally hit a boy on the road. They head to the nearby town of Gatlin to find help, but the place is eerily empty. The stores are abandoned, the houses silent, except for the feeling that someone's watching from the corn. Turns out, the children killed every adult in town years ago to worship their god, a terrifying entity called He Who Walks Behind the Rows. This thing demands blood sacrifices and forbids anyone from living past 19. The kids have built their own creepy little theocracy. There is no electricity or cars, just religion, corn, and ritual murder. When Bert and Vicky show up, the kids decide the newcomers would make perfect sacrifices. Spoiler, it goes about as badly as you would expect. It's King at his best, turning innocence into horror and making you seriously reconsider every road trip through farm country. And if this slice of corn-fed terror freaked you out, just wait. The next video, Every Monster in the Stephen King Universe Explained in 10 Minutes, breaks down all of King's creatures, from Pennywise to the Crimson King, to things you didn't even know existed. Check it out now.